Hey, hello, everybody, this is Purge bringing you guys another replay commentary. This is an Oracle game that I played the other day. This is a solo queue, and as of me playing this game, I was sitting at about 5,800 MMR. I played probably like 6 or 7 games, and I think I'm plus 50 right now, so I'm doing about average. Let's talk about Oracle as a hero. He was pretty heavily voted on in terms of your guys' requests here. This is on my website, purgegamers.true.io. Go to the forum, go to the Dota 2 section and choose next hero for Purge to play. You guys can make an account and then log in and vote. Right now, Oracle is sitting at 139, which is relatively high, and I picked him for solo queue, so I thought, hey, let's do a video about it. So let's talk about Oracle. Oracle is a hero. Oh, by the way, if you guys don't want to watch the Dotabuff section, you guys can skip this, and hopefully I'll put the annotation at a reasonable time this time. Sorry about that delay last time. Again, sponsored by Dotabuff, full disclosure, but they are a great company, and I really like the website. Alright, Oracle, a very unpopular hero in the pub scene, extremely popular hero in the pro scene. He's picked very often right now. He's even first round banned pretty often, and he's received quite a few nerfs recently. So to talk about his skills, they're mostly the same as they have always been, but they've been adjusted a bit over time. So the most interesting skill he has is arguably his ultimate. You cast this on an ally, and it removes all negative effects that are currently on them, all including stuns, everything pretty much. There's maybe some exceptions, but maybe not actually. I think it pretty much removes everything negative, except for maybe like weave, some kind of heavy buffs or debuffs might stay. Anyways, removes debuffs, and then during this duration from 7 to 9 seconds, they take no damage. And after that duration ends, the damage they took during the false promise will finally affect them, and it may kill them. And that's even through Graving, I believe. So even if you cast Grave on somebody after you use False Promise, it won't delay their death. I think they'll either die, or as soon as the Grave ends, they'll die. I can't remember exactly how it works. There's a couple of things that work weird with it. You can remove False Promise as a debuff by using things like Axe Culling Blade. If somebody's low enough HP, you can just get the kill, which is kind of cool. So the coolest thing about False Promise is that any healing that the person takes while False Promise is on them gives 2 times the healing than it would have otherwise. So that means when you ulti somebody, you also want to cast your Purifying Flame skill on them. What this does is a very strong nuke, up to 360 damage by level 4, and then over time they will heal up a total of more heal than the damage you did to them. This is especially true because any nuke that you hit somebody with, it's a magic nuke by the way, it will be reduced by magic resistance. So if you nuke somebody for 360 damage, and we whip out our calculator, come on Windows, oh it crashed. Windows calculator, man, it's just not very reliable. I'll multiply 360 times 0.75. That gives us a total of 270 after magic resistance. That's assuming no amp damage from how much int I have. So you're doing 270 damage whenever you use this skill on somebody, and then it will heal a total of 396 HP afterwards. So basically, if you use this ability on somebody and they don't die, you're going to heal them for more than the damage you did. So in very limited spell casting animations, then it can do a lot of damage over time, but you have to ideally use it to kill an enemy hero. If you use it on an ally with conjunction with your ultimate, then you can heal a lot. The downside is that it takes 10 seconds to do that full heal duration. 9 seconds to do the full heal duration, whereas False Promise only lasts from 7 to 9 seconds based on the duration. And usually you want to cast False Promise right away, so even them taking the nuke from Purifying Flames will be added into it. But you can basically do the math and calculate how much HP are they actually going to heal. For example, if you cast False Promise and you instantly cast Purifying Flames, you're going to get at least like we'll say 6 seconds of heal out of it, which means that at level 7 that could be 6 times 44, which gives you a total of 264, but then we multiply that by 2 because it's doubled, which means 528 total heal, just from casting False Promise and Purifying Flames once. Of course, they'll also take the 270 damage, so but you're still increasing the heal point. And that also accounts for things like Wand that person might use during the ultimate. It also accounts for the base HP regen that they have while that's going on. If they have anything like Vanguard, Lincoln's, Tranquil Boots, that'll also give them HP. Or if they bottle, there's a lot of things that you can use basically to make sure False Promise is better. So pretty cool skill here, Purifying Flames. It's made even better if you combo with Fate's Edict. If you cast this on somebody, they have 100% magic damage resistance, and they also can't attack. So what you usually want to do when you're healing somebody is put Fate's Edict on them first and then cast Purifying Flames. That way it prevents that initial burst of damage and it only heals them. So basically it costs more mana, but you can get a lot more heal out of this. And especially if your False Promise or Fate's Edict is a higher level, the duration is long enough that you can cast Purifying Flames twice for sure. Because you have to cast this, then cast Purifying Flames, then wait for it to cool down after 2.25 seconds, then cast it a second time. So when you get more points in Fate's Edict, probably 2 points for sure. You might be able to do it with 1 point, but then you've got cast animations. But I think once you get 2 points in Fate's Edict, you can definitely cast Purifying Flames twice per Fate's Edict. It's kind of mana expensive. The mana cost did get nerfed recently after getting buffed heavily. But Oracle is definitely at a point now where he's a little bit OP. Your first skill is called Fortune's End. And what this does is you can start a channel. You can channel for up to 2.5 seconds, and once the projectile lands, it will immobilize them for 2.5 seconds. It doesn't cancel TPs. It doesn't prevent somebody from attacking. It just prevents them from moving. Very similar to the Entangle, or from the what's it called? Searing Chains that Ember Spirit has. Very similar. The other buff to this is that it does a Purge, which means that it will remove buffs and negative debuffs from your allies. So if you're tracked, for example, by Bounty Hunter, you can cast Fortune's End on yourself to remove the debuff. If you cast Fate's Edict on somebody but you want to remove it, you can cast Fortune's End on them to then remove it. And that's the cool thing about Fortune's End. You can cast it on allies or enemies. The minimum disable duration is 0.5 seconds. The max is 2.5 seconds. But usually you don't want to sit there channeling it the whole time because you could be attacking instead. So at least in the laning stage, usually just casting it instantly is a bit better. But there's a couple things that Fortune's End is amazing against, and the main thing is Darkseer, because all of Darkseer's abilities can be purged, Iron Shell, Surge, all that stuff. So I picked him this game, in the game that I'm about to play, because I was against a Darkseer, because I know that in laning, you're very good against Darkseer. It's also really good against, what's some other stuff, Flux, the Arc Warden disable, you can use it against Dust on your allies, you can use it against Urn Charges. There's lots of things where Fortune's End is fantastic, but it does a lot of damage level 1, 90 damage. At level 4, it does bad damage, 180, but the cooldown goes down to 6. It's mostly used as an ability to set up disables. And another cool thing that it purges actually is the heal from Purifying Flames on enemies. So if you nuke your opponent with Purifying Flames, you can cast Fortune's End afterwards to remove the heal benefit or the heal buff of your opponent. So usually the way that you want to use Oracle, and this is what really makes him a good damage dealing hero, and not so much just a support that heals and buffs your allies, is that Purifying Flames does amazing damage, 360 with 4 skill points. It does heal, of course. So if you kill them fast enough, the heal doesn't matter, but you can also just cast Purifying Flames, do the damage, debuff that heal with Fortune's End to do more damage, and then you nuke them again. And then all of a sudden you're hitting them with like 800 magic damage at level 7 with just a few simple basic skills. So really strong hero for that reason. Fate's Edict is also very useful to cast it on carries that are doing lots of physical damage output, but usually you want to use it defensively on your allies if they're taking a lot of magic nukes. But you can basically prep it to use when you know somebody's about to take magic damage, or ulti, Fate's Edict them, then cast Purifying Flames like twice to get them healed up. So as a hero, he's definitely played as a support. There is maybe some credence that he could be played as a core, but even EG's tried this. You can get Ags on him to reduce the cooldown of Purifying Flames down to 1 second and lower the cast point, but I just don't see it as worth it because the hero has issues farming. Cool things about the hero stat-wise is that his stats are pretty awful, except for his ultimate, or his int 2.9 is really good. Base movement speed solid. His base damage is now really bad. It's been nerfed a few times in the last few patches. His base armor is okay for a ranged hero, and his base attack time is godly. Actually, that's not. Yeah, actually, that's what I want to talk about. Base attack time is kind of like your hero's average attack speed at a base, which is why it's called the base attack time. For Oracle, it's really low. 1.4 is very low. Most heroes aren't this low. What it basically means is he just attacks more often, pretty much, which is one reason his damage should be lower, is because his attack speed, or his attacks per second, is already really high. It also means that if you go damage build, that your damage is going to be a lot higher as well. Attack speed items kind of give you more value. Basically, all items give you more value on Oracle from a damage and your right-click standpoint. But again, his stat gain is not amazing. His skills don't really scale him very well as a carry. So in a lot of ways, he's not really recommended that way. So this is absolutely the skill build you should go almost always. I can't really imagine a case where you would want to get more levels of Fortune's End or Fate's Edict early. You absolutely max Purifying Flames first. Anything other than this, I think, is probably a mistake. Maybe you get Fate's Edict level 2. Maybe. But in most cases, I don't think you should. This used to amplify physical and pure damage, by the way, but it doesn't do that anymore. So don't imagine that it does. It just literally blocks magic damage and disarms them. Make sure that you don't use it on an opponent when your team is trying to do magic damage to them. That's really the only caveat about this now, is that you have to be a little careful when you use it. But it's easier than it used to be. So common items. You definitely need Arcane Boots because the hero has very big mana costs now between Purifying Flames, Mana gives you ability to cast spells, which gives you the ability to heal yourself and allies and teamfight longer. Magic Wand is an absolute gimme just because it makes you more survivable. Yes, you can keep your allies alive with False Promise, but it's a long cooldown, and you don't really want to use it on yourself. You want to use it on your allies so they can do damage and carry. So having things like Wand helps you increase your ability to stay alive. Aether Lens is a great item just because it increases your cast range, which means that you have to be 200 units closer or farther away. You can be 200 units farther away with False Promise to make it effective. But usually if you do buy Aether Lens, you're going to have to buy another Arcane Boots afterwards because you do have a lot of mana output, or a lot of mana needs. Mechanism is another great item to have on Oracle. The reason it has a low win rate here is just because most people usually make Guardian Greaves, and they'll make Guardian Greaves if they're winning, and they won't have the money to do it if they're losing. So don't look at this win rate number and assume it's bad. It's a great item. It's another 250 health burst that you can put on top of False Promise, ulti somebody, Fate's Edict them, Purifying Flames twice, and press mech, and all of a sudden that guy heals an extra 1,000 HP. That's amazing. And it's kind of, you can do it after the fact as well. Like, you can ulti a guy and see how much nukes he's taking, how many nukes he's taking, how many right clicks he's taking, and estimate, do I need to mech him or not? So balancing that out is pretty fun. Also, it naturally builds together with Arcane Boots. And the other really good thing about Guardian Greaves for a healer sort of hero like Oracle is that if your opponents get a Orchid and they jump on you and silence you, you can use Guardian Greaves to remove the Orchid. So it's like a very easy build progression. Arcane Boots, Magic Wand, Mechanism. Done. That's your item build. And then you can build whatever else you need. Do you need a Glimmer Cape? Do you need a Force Staff? Do you need Guardian Greaves because they have an Orchid? You can kind of go whichever way you want to build. But I really like that all of these items are the most used. These are very, very good items to have as a support hero. Windlace is fantastic. Makes you just run a little bit faster, which means that, much like Aether Lens, it means you're going to be able to react to things faster just because your movement speed is higher. Hold Observer Wards, hold Sentry Wards, Dust of Appearance, all the stuff, typical support stuff. But these are basically your items. The only item that's really missing here is a Glimmer Cape. I think it should be here instead of Aether Lens, but Aether Lens is more popular. So, here's you're good against. Techies. The reason you're good against Techies is because you can probably demine using things like Fate's Edict. Turn it on, walk high ground, kill. Well, you can't kill the mines because you won't be able to attack, but you can minimum use it on yourself to be magic resistant, walk high ground, spot where the mines are, and then let your allies kill them would be good. As a whole, you can also ulti to prevent his damage from going through, and you're very nuke heavy, so you can kind of kill him from range. Legion Commander is pretty straightforward because you can use your ultimate to delay the duel and basically make sure that the duel damage doesn't go through, because Legion has to win the duel while he's dueling or he doesn't get the bonus damage. So even if you just ulti somebody and delay the duel, delay that person's death until 8 seconds later, it's still good because it means Legion isn't getting free damage over time. Tidehunter, not super sure about this. Probably that his ultimate gets canceled out by using False Promise. Also, you do so much magic damage that you're kind of a counter to Tide. It doesn't matter that he can lower your damage because you have such good magic nuke that you can kill him through it. Some of these picks I'm really not very sure about. I mean, it makes sense because False Promise is a Purge, so it's like our Fortune's End, sorry. So you can remove Repel and Guardian Angel using that skill. Storm Spirit, similar thing. You can get Greaves to stay alive against him and then buff up your allies. Elder Titan, I'm not quite sure. Probably he's a bit weak on Disable, and when he ultis somebody, half of the damage is magic, so you can prevent it with Fate's Edict is one of the big things. Now here's your bad against. Heroes with Silence, this one makes a lot of sense. Death Prophet. Lots of physical damage as well with her ultimate, so it doesn't really matter if you're able to prevent magic damage. Lone Druid does all physical, so Fate's Edict is a little bit weak, though you can prevent his bear from attacking. That part's kind of cool. But the magic nukes are a bit weak once he grabs something like a hood on his main hero, so it's probably hard for you to actually deal with the bear. And his disables are so low cooldown, like he'll just entangle somebody, you don't want to waste your ultimate on that. It's kind of a... You're better against burst, basically, and heroes that have abilities that when you counter them with your ultimate, that the fight's over, kind of a thing. That's where Oracle gets really effective. Canceling Batrider Lasso, canceling Duel, things like that is really effective. But Lone Druid doesn't really have that problem. He's also good at pushing, so I would argue that in some ways Lone Druid can counter Oracle's playstyle, which is more teamfight, anti-gank. Broodmother, very good at diving, is weak to AoE. Oracle does not have good AoE. Nature's Prophet, it looks like these are basically all pushing heroes, let's be real. 1, 2, 3, 4 pushing heroes in a row. All physical damage. You don't have a stun as well, is another big thing. So because you don't have a stun as a hero, you can't stop Nature's Prophet from TPing. You can cast Fortune's end to immobilize the Lycan, but he'll probably just kill you anyways. So these all make a lot of sense. Beastmaster as well, good at pushing, tons of damage output, attack speed increase. Yeah, you can counter Roar, but I don't know if that does enough. And once you hit somebody with a boar, you'll probably slow them enough to get the kill anyways. Clinks is a little surprising, but it's similar things. Physical damage output. If he gets an Orchid and you don't have Greaves yet on Oracle, you're going to have some trouble. So I think a lot of these heroes can exploit some timings. And the Leshrac is one as well. It's a little surprising, but Lesh puts out so much damage and has good disable that even if you do ulti somebody that Leshrac goes on, he's probably going to be able to get the kill no matter what. So some of these are pretty interesting actually, but definitely pushing seems to be a bit of the issue. Makes me want to play all these heroes, especially Lone Druid. I love that hero. So let's hop in the meta trends. Again, one thing I forgot to mention, I do think Oracle is much better as a safe lane support. He can do tri-lane situations, but he does need some levels. It's pretty important, especially level 6. But really more like level 3, level 5, level 6, level 7 are the big ones. Once you're 7, you're pretty set as the hero, but moving past that is definitely good. Very good in similar ways as Omni Knight. His win rates across the board are pretty bad, but at closer to 5k, people actually understand how his skills work, and therefore they can get good win rates on him. But he's arguably one of the most OP heroes in the game right now in terms of a support. Definitely up there. I'd say he's definitely top 3 most OP supports at the moment. 46% win rate, close to 5k. Me, I've played 27 Oracle games. I've got a really high win rate, 63% about. So I feel very qualified as an Oracle player to talk about this. Dare I say one of my best heroes? Is that fair? Maybe that's a little bit overblown, but all right. So this was a ranked all pick game, obviously. Zephyr Courier, hell yeah. The important distinction is that the reason I picked him was because he's so good against my opponent's heroes. I believe they had already picked Darkseer. I think they had an Arc Warden picked and a Spirit Breaker. I didn't think about the Spirit Breaker pick very much, but he's actually very good against SB. The reason he's good against SB is because SB does almost entirely magic damage. This, magic damage. This, magic damage. Just charging through people will affect Greater Bash. It's all magic damage. So that means if somebody is getting comboed by Spirit Breaker, if I just cast my second skill on them, it will stop the magic damage component, limiting heavily what SB does in terms of damage output. Also around that, other things I countered, like I talked about Darkseer, if he's Iron Shelled creeps or if he's Iron Shelled himself, I can use Fortune's End on him to remove that debuff, or that buff that is. And if he uses Surge, I can also cast Fortune's End. It'll also remove Surge. So basically your goal as an Oracle is prevent Darkseer from farming by removing Iron Shells from the creep wave. If he's trying to run away, you want to save Fortune's End until after he casts Surge. That way you completely counter Surge, no matter what level it is. Those advantages are massive. Oracle's also really good with Drow Ranger, and my allied Drow was, he had his hero on Drow Ranger in the picking stage, so I said, well, if he's going to have Drow, Oracle's amazing. Because like I said before, very low base attack time, which means I attack very rapidly. Now look at my hero. I attack every 1.21 seconds. If we compare that to like Darkseer, for example, he's at 1.5. I don't think we have comparable agility. It's actually pretty close. I've got 3 more agility than him, but I attack way faster. 1.2 seconds versus 1.5. That's a big difference. So what I'm doing right now is making sure there isn't a range creep in the front. And I also want to check out and see if how many Iron Shells he has on the creep. Usually what a Darkseer will do, he'll do his first Iron Shell here, and he'll do his second Iron Shell near the creep wave. And as soon as he does 2, I'm probably going to cast Fortune's End. But until that point, it's not necessarily something I want to do. So right here, it does do AoE, I forgot to mention that. But 2 Iron Shells removed, that basically wastes 140 mana from the Darkseer, just completely gimps it. And most importantly, it prevents his ability to farm. Because the strength about Darkseer is that he can just cast Iron Shells on a creep wave, and he'll usually get a lot of experience out of it. Or at least gold. But by killing the Iron Shells, it counters his mana, counters his ability to farm. The wave's not going to push as well. I'm thinking about casting Fortune's End. I do. It's going to cost me a lot of mana. It's about 110 every time. But just getting Purge behind, for example, is really strong. This is a little scary for me. As long as I'm not on Iron Shell range, I think this is okay. I think it was definitely a mistake for the SB here to even bother charging me. Like, he's not even level 2, so he doesn't have bash damage. He just does a stun. And, of course, the most important thing I'm doing is just a lot of right-clicking there. I did channel out most of my Fortune's End, at least like a second and a half, just because it would allow the Pudge to chase. But support Pudge are actually really good. And again, amazing to have Drow on my team because I get bonus damage to make up for the fact that my damage has been nerfed, and because I have very low BAT, base attack time, so I can get a lot of contribution out of my hero in the lane. My starting items, by the way, just typical things. Courier, 2 Observer Wards. Bought Boots here with that great double kill that we got. And then 2 sets of Tangos and an Ironwood Branch just to have a little bit more regen. And now we're just going to focus heavily on pulling. I'm going to go check the runes since Pudge can take this and get experience. It's very important that Pudge does get a level 2. This is just part of the reason that I ditched here. Because I want him to be accelerated in that way. And now he can actually move around the map roaming. Whereas I can continue doing support-based stuff. Now against a dual lane like Spirit Breaker and Darkseer, things are harder because I have to genuinely be concerned about just dying. Just because they have 2 heroes, they can pretty much just Iron Shell both of them. And if he gets in a melee range of me, then I'm going to take a lot of damage. And when I'm still under leveled, then my HP is low, my armor's low, I don't have Fate's Edict. All these things are issues. But again, continue to banish the Iron Shell. And with a couple smart last hits from the Drow Ranger, it makes a huge difference. Like, if we look at how much the Darkseer is shut down right now, he's only got 5 last hits. It's extremely low for 3 minutes that a Darkseer doesn't have this many last hits. It doesn't have more last hits. Because the more that I break the Iron Shells, less last hits. Every time he gets one through, we focus heavily on denying. That's the best thing you can do against Darkseer. Don't let him get free farm. And now because we've delayed his Soul Ring, he's not able to continuously spam. He's forced to use Clarity Potions to continue to lane. And he has gotten decent experience, but that's just naturally going to happen when you have a dual lane. So what I'm basically focused on entirely is just trying to make sure that they get as little experience in the lane as possible and as little gold as possible. He did a side pull here. I tried to pull it away, but because of the Iron Shell, it continues to keep the experience aggro. So now what I'm trying to do is just make sure that I'm able to get the last hits if possible. So as soon as this creep gets low, I'm definitely going to go for the nuke here. And I didn't necessarily want to use Fortune's End because it costs more mana, first of all, by, 25? And it also would remove the Iron Shell. So even though he did Iron Shell those creeps, I was still able to get most of the last hits. He got the small Satyr, I believe, but I got the medium Satyr, and I got the large Hellbear, which is pretty important. I don't know what the Drow's doing. She's just not paying too much attention, but I'm still spending a lot of mana here, but again, I'm just focused on trying to zone the Darkseer the best I can. It's hard for me to roam around and zone him, because if he ever Iron Shells himself, then he can definitely win a trade. But I'm definitely very focused on just the lane advantage of denying his farm, getting myself farm, pulling lanes when possible, and making sure that my Drow Ranger has a good game. This is a good time to get a lane ward down with the Drow Ranger, just because the hero is very gankable as a carry. I think I made a slight mistake in delaying this, but I was having such a good game, just especially because of the dual lane. I felt like I just wanted to rush Arcanes as fast as possible, since I was pretty limited in terms of mana. I also did know that they had an Observer Ward. I saw it when I placed my ward up here, so I should have realized that they had one in the laning stage this whole time. I don't think Pudge got sentries, so it's not that big of a deal, but I definitely think that I could have flown out some sentries early on. Minimum, I would have traded a sentry for a ward, or at least 200 gold for 100 gold. I probably would have gotten in 2 wards. And I can also balance where he's moving based on how I'm moving to figure out whether or not he actually does have an Observer Ward. But it's definitely very important that you keep vision down for a squishy carry like Drow. And that was definitely something that I didn't do well. I also wanted to push this lane here, and that's because I wanted to do my side pull. Something very important as a support. If the wave is not being pushed out, then you're not able to side pull. I was a little bit late, which is why I pulled to the right, but if I was doing that correct, I would have pulled it diagonally down right, which is where the creep wave was. Now what I'm doing is I'm doing it based on when this creep wave dies. That way we will still aggro something. And I got 2 range creeps, which is decent. We probably won't kill this guy, but, free right clicks and all that stuff. Definitely worth it. And then 2 range creeps being denied is a huge loss of experience there for the Darkseer, so this is not bad. But I should have gotten the whole creep wave, really. I'm going to speed this up just a little bit here. We basically did a very good job pulling. Maybe the Pudge didn't as much. Right now I'm pulling to the left, and that's because I don't know exactly where his creep wave is. This was actually really good timing looking at the map now, but because our creep wave pushed up, this gives him the chance to do a side pull as well. So just by me attacking these creeps and pulling them to the left gave me the possibility of denying him his ability to pull. He actually walked next to the creep wave and he just Iron Shelled, which isn't that big of a deal because I can just nuke this. And now... that was very bizarre. I'm going to check that again. Because I thought I Fortune's ended that whole wave. Maybe the AoE didn't hit the other one with Iron Shell. It definitely hit it. That's so weird. I don't know why I wasn't able to Fortune's end that off the neutral. That's very weird. Yeah, this is basically the best way that he can get farm at this point. This is kind of expensive in terms of my mana. And I've also not really done a good job of being on the map. Like, Templar Assassin got crapped on this game from pressure. And I was not there for that. I guess Pudge was at least, but... But I focused a lot of my mana on just laning here. Pretty much. Quite close to having my arcane boots. Maybe I should have tried to steal a last hit. Him attacking here was a little bit concerning. Little stack going on here. I actually did get my arcanes. I just didn't really get a chance to buy them. So, I reacted okay here. I was pretty sad because I could have gotten the arcanes, obviously, but once Ursa shows up, there's only so much you can do. I think Drow did that fairly well, but with SB charging, especially with Iron Shell, it's just such a strong dual lane. The fact that we even shut it down this much was pretty surprising. So I was pretty sad about that, being that close to arcane boots. We definitely don't want to lose our tower this early though, especially with how we've been doing, so I felt like I should just buy some items. And with that, I bought a infused raindrop. Just because it's such a good, I actually almost killed that guy, I think. Maybe not killed, but it would have been kind of close. I also maybe could have done that just by attack nuke, hold Fortune's End long enough. That way, by the time it lands, it'll give me vision, and then I can walk up and nuke again. There's a small chance that I would have been able to kill him there. But they've definitely done a better job of controlling the lane in terms of ward vision than we have on our side. This is nice. If I can get this range creep denied as well. Less experience for them. But yeah, as you can see from the map, due to the replay, you can see that they did have a ward over there. So, level 6 at 835. I think this is pretty solid. As a support, this is like more than good. I should definitely have a TP as well, because if I could TP to protect the TA, that would be really nice. Oh, it looks like he actually TP'd out is what happened. But I can basically TP in and just defend against Arc Warden. Oh yeah, something really important to point out, by the way. Arc Warden's third skill, it's called Spark Wraith. It does a slow, and it used to do a Purge, but it just got nerfed to not do a Purge anymore. And the reason that's so hugely important, so pretty clear kill here. I was able to get that Fortune's End. We look for the hook. It's a pretty easy kill. The Spark Wraith used to Purge, which means that if I Fate's Edict an ally, it should block the magic damage, but it would get removed by the Purge ability, because a Diffusal Blade would also remove Fate's Edict, much like how I can remove my own with Fortune's End. So, but now, because the Spark Wraith doesn't Purge anymore, I can cast Fate's Edict to stop all magic damage coming from Templar Assassin, or from Arc Warden. Another case where he got overly dived and I wasn't paying attention. This is like the only thing that I was really unhappy about with the way that I played this game, was that I spent so much time on the lane that I didn't spend any time helping out my ally in terms of their other laning style. I'm just going to ulti here to guarantee some setup. Wanted to kill the... this is important, obviously. Big channel that guarantees Pudge can hook for 2.5 seconds. Pretty straightforward. Just going to disarm him so that he doesn't take damage, but that was actually not worth it at all. I don't know why I even bothered to cast that, to be honest. Again, we can do a nuke. He did actually die to the Arc Warden there. This is the Flux spell, this little like spinny one on the TA, so I want to walk next to him so he doesn't take bonus damage. Drop my raindrop, that way I didn't lose raindrop charges for taking that nuke. I just wanted to get it off the map. So I kind of misused my skills. Fate's Edict wasn't actually very useful in the Pudge. Well, actually, you know what he could have done? He could have fought with it, because with Fate's Edict on, he shouldn't take rot damage. If he just turned and fought the SB during that time period, he might have gotten bashed, but the bash wouldn't have done damage. Only the actual auto attack would have. So in some ways, the Pudge could have just turned and fought with rot, but it was a little miscommunicated there. I also could have Fortune's Ended to remove the Urn charge that was on him. That could have also worked. But either way, the Fortune's End plus Pudge combo is really effective, actually. It's a really cool dual lane. Helps give us more damage, all that good stuff. I'll just Fate's Edict him, that way he takes no damage from the Spark Wraith. And then you can actually kill these now. They give experience and mana, or experience and gold. I got 80 gold out of that, and I got a little bit of experience. If somebody's stupid with their wraiths, just kill them. And now I was finally trying to help out a little bit mid, but now I'm not bottom. And this is definitely the weakest part of my game, was just that I didn't feel like I wasn't always in the right place at the right time. I think a lot of that was based on wards. I felt very constrained this game. I wasn't doing a good job at all of covering the rest of the game. Huge moment for us. Great hook there by Pudge. I could have ultied him there to keep him alive, probably. That was a pretty sloppy play, but The Fate's Edict was useful. It stopped Pudge taking any magic damage. While he used Rot Dismember, he was gaining a lot of life. I just should have probably ultied him during that time period. So he would have gotten a lot of heal from it. Either way, it didn't feel too terrible. But Pudge Oracle, man, that shit's good. Just wanted to get his HP a little bit low. Just want to keep healing the guy. Used up a lot of mana to get to this moment. They were able to get that kill, no problem. It's a very dead Pudge. Lots of raindrop there for almost no reason. They did a really good job pressuring us, basically. They were constantly fighting us. But I was having a really good game at this point. Didn't anticipate that. Just disarming him here so that the Drow doesn't take too much damage. I really wanted to kill this guy. Remove the silence. Arcane Boots gave me enough mana. That was a huge kill. Got so much out of that one. Looks like the rest of the fight they didn't get any kills, but the fact that I was able to pick off the Arc Warden's huge. That guy usually farms really fast, especially with things like Midas, so if I just net worth there, I basically solo killed the highest net worth on their team. A little bit of miscommunication problem here. Pudge was looking for a hook. We probably could have done a Fortune's End hook, but didn't work out. I got Clarity'd from an ally. That was pretty nice, because my mana's really low here. And I'm just kind of figuring out what I want to buy. I think Glimmer Cape was a good choice. That Ursa ulti actually did no extra damage. I'm going to channel this while he's in his mode. It's a really nice Finger of Death by the line, but I actually don't think it was worth it. Actually, he got a lot of gold, but we'll see what he gets out of it. I see the fight recap. He does gain gold, and I lose 200. I guess it was okay. Probably made it worth it, to be honest. It's poor Clarity. Definitely a nice Finger of Death. They must have sentries all over the mid lane. They've done a nice job of dewarding some of them. But it's really not uncommon at all for an Oracle to have as many kills and assists as I do this game. It's really not weird. If you watch any Oracle played in the pro scene, especially OG, I think Fly plays an amazing Oracle. He consistently has like huge amounts of kills and assists. His Oracle's fun to watch. There's a lot of Oracles that are fun to watch, really. So many of them. We could actually fight this, I think. Darkseer's showing up. It's a little harder. Remove the Iron Shell. I don't think that was really that worth it, though. Pudge can get a hook. This would be great. They also could very easily be a ward on the cliff. So Glimmer's usage is basically just to give me a survive or an ally a get out of jail free card if something bad happens. Fate's Edict and Glimmer kind of solve similar issues, but the more important thing is really being invisible. Just wanted to nuke these guys to try to get them lower. It was well done. As long as I run with somebody, this is absolutely fine. This is not needed. Definitely a waste of an ulti there. Really nice hook by Pudge. At this point, we're just completely owning in terms of fighting. It was really good fights. I think the Arc Warden actually was there, but his ultimate usage was just not very good. Looks like he had Blink Dagger. He just used the skills wrong, and as long as we just sit together, they just do no damage. I didn't even have to use any of my abilities. Like, I could have not used my ultimate in that fight, and we would have done fine. Level 11's a pretty huge level for Oracle, though, because his ultimate goes from 100 seconds to 65. So winning teamfights is pretty important. Basically, you just have to play your hero correctly, use your skills well, back up your allies, combo your skills a little. Like, having both Hook and Fortune's End together is amazing. And now we're at a point where we have this big gold advantage, I'm sure. And we're actually decently behind, surprisingly. This is when all their diving was really successful, but after a couple huge team fights, we're in this massive advantage. And that's because all of our heroes are really strong right now. Whereas their heroes were strong. They were definitely strong, like, pre-15 minutes, pre-10 minutes, but now all of our levels are enough, and we have enough basic items and mana pools and stuff like that, where we can just crush fights. And every time that Draw Ranger gets stronger, it means more damage for everybody else as well. Like TA's gonna naturally hit harder. 50 free damage on him. I have 50 damage as well. Like I actually hit really hard. This attack speed from Glimmer Cape's even beneficial for the first time in my support life because I have a Draw Ranger on my team. There's a lot of really good things about our lineup. If you're wondering why I didn't get mech this game, I think it just Force Staff is more important. Glimmer was a pretty straightforward grab just because of how many magic nukes I have. Not just for the passive magic that I get, magic resistance, but also just because I can use it on ally. I don't think I used it very much on allies because my other skills kind of solve the problem, but I think it's still fine to grab. Force Staff is usually a gimme though. Gets you away from Ursa, gets your allies away from Ursa. You can Force Staff a hexed fish because fishes can turn. It's very good to get out of Oracle Flux, get away from danger in a lot of ways. Just a lot of really good things about it. Kind of wanted to cast spells here. And hey, 0 damage. It's taking some damage here, but really not much at all. Pretty much just the physical damage is all I'm getting hit for. That cost me mana, but that was about it. Really not a big threat. Staying 5 is definitely pretty important. We maybe overdid this a little. And in a lot of ways, I think our opponents just didn't split push well. There was definitely a lot of that, where they just didn't play well at all. But our team fighting was quite solid, at least. Just gonna clear these out here. That one did damage, I just really don't care. It doesn't even matter. No last hits for Darkseer. I tried to break that a little bit earlier, I gave him 2 there. I think there was very brain dead gameplay in this game actually. I kind of just like walked around aimlessly. They basically took a tower just now. And TA as well. We didn't have a tier 1 tower there. In the last like minute and a half, I think we really faltered actually. We should have done anything. Moved across the map together, gotten something done, but we didn't really do anything. We actually just kind of... I took a lot of damage from that Iron Shell. Like, my KDA was really good this game, and it led me to believe that this game was played really well, but it was kind of played roughly, I would say. Again, just in the fact that the last bits of time here were played real sloppy. We basically 5-man into our jungle, didn't really do anything. There was kind of a hero there, and then we walked away, and then my allies got ganked. If we were actually proactive about ganking there, then something like that wouldn't happen. It would actually be us setting up a gank and getting a kill, and then the TA maybe doesn't get ganked there. Like, just me, Pudge, +1, whether that's Faces Void or TA or somebody else, we can kill any hero on the map. We did a pretty crappy job of having map control, especially after all these fights that went so well. Like, if you look at the graph there, you can clearly see it. Like, that's partially because of the 2 kills that they got, or the tower and the kill, but it's really shit play, I would say. I did a bad job about smoking and things like that and proactive. This often happens when I run out of item slots. I just say, well, I can't hold the smoke anymore. And that's, that's usually what happens. You get wand and windlace and a TP. That's already half your item slots. Now we're trying to decide where the heck we're even going. Yeah, we had a huge issue with team movement. Like right here, we don't even need to we didn't even need to try a hook first. He could have done a jump hit ulti, or just a jump ulti. We could have gotten a kill. Or I could nuke with Purifying Flames from range as the Faces Void jumps in as well. I actually didn't see the Spark Wraith that killed him. I thought that he was just taking flux damage there. I could have saved his life in 2 ways. I could have used either my second skill or my ulti. So that was a pretty big mistake. We floundered super bad at this moment. We really did play this game like shit, now that I'm looking at it. Not that much going on right now. That's because I'm not doing anything. I'm not making anything happen. Strong skill. I don't know. Our whole team played so scared. We weren't able to like set anything up. We actually did see the Ursa over here. I glimmered him in. That way he could approach a little bit faster. I was able to remove his surge, obviously. Thank you, Glimmer Cape. I think the Pudge did a really good job this game, the way that he was playing. Just took the nuke so nobody else has to. I could actually banish off his Mjolnir with my first skill. It's a buff that you can purge. Pretty good fight though. It kind of only happened because my TA happened to have a I think that would have been a decent play. Or the TA can just kill them all. Just like if you're against a bounty hunter, usually it'll do that. That way you get a lower cooldown, you can remove more tracks. But in this much magic damage, I clearly want Fate's Edict. Like we just 5-man so much. This looks like watching me coaching a game or something. It's honestly what it looks like. So there's my experience tome, level 13. Now we're crossing the map to look for a kill, but they're actually all kind of behind us. This is a bit weird. So it's kind of bizarre that they happen to be here. I'm gonna try to go for more kills. I don't think I really had to nuke that guy. I think I should have probably tried to chase and look for more. Like we just lost the tower top because nobody defended it. But it's mostly positioning and movement based. We've been moving awful. We've had absolutely no purpose in the way that we moved. I could have glimpsed. I could all set detection. Literally anything. So, at this point they're kind of just throwing themselves at us in stupid ways. They didn't even really take a fight. I don't know, it's like they're all just like split farming or something is what they're doing. So there goes his Mjolnir, that's pretty easy. We'll take our gold. Only thing we really have to worry about is vacuum wall, really. It's really the only good team fight that they have. Just get everybody healed up a bit. Wow, he actually just... he casted his refraction at the perfect time. So he used my wand there for the free heals. That was a huge hook. Kind of just crapping on them in team fights. I feel like I should have died there. Maybe like did line not have... oh, that's right, I used finger on the TA. If he didn't use finger on the TA, then they definitely would have killed me. I had to like make a magic immune here. I don't think anybody on the team understood how the skill from Arc Warden works, but if you're inside the circle and attacking something inside the circle, then you can attack them. If you're on the outside, then it doesn't work. So pretty easy racks here. This point, decided to buy mech just because it kind of counteracts. It's basically like an anti-team fight item, helps team fights. In that if there's AoE damage being done, then obviously mech is super effective for offsetting some of that, giving 250 HP to everybody on your team. This is like the kind of movement that we should have done towards the start of the game, is actually move aggressively in the enemy jungle. And it's definitely something you can do in Oracle. I just haven't this game. I did a really good job laning, in my opinion. I didn't do a very good job reacting to the movement of my opponents. And then I did a really bad job playing aggressively and actually moving with my team in places I should have been. Like the places we should have been playing once we had gold advantage at the start is their jungle and pushing towards their towers. Like get a gank off and then turn that into a tower is what we should have been doing. But we actually just sat back and farmed, which is not what you do when you have a drow strat, and usually not what you do either when you're on Radiant. So it was just all around bad. Going high ground should be a little tough, especially with Arc Warden, who can split push with his whatever thingy. Just gonna make that one magic resistant. That way he stays alive a bit longer. He should just walk next to me. I don't know why he walked all the way over here. That was kind of counterintuitive. But the whole high ground thing that we're approaching is kind of working, but it's going very slow. I just feel like I haven't even seen... I feel like the SB gave up or something, because I actually haven't seen him like all game. He has SB, but... my mech was a little early. We actually took so little damage from that because of the pipe that it didn't even matter. 4 staff on that guy. I can glimmer him. I was pretty late here. Oh, he actually had a diffusal blade. If he had used that at the right time against my Glimmer, then I would have gotten killed. I also could have casted Fate's Edict on the Ursa when he initiated. It's pretty scary. That was close. Like right here, they could just kill this. If this guy walked an inch forward and then attacked it, he actually would just kill it. People really don't understand that hero. So now I'm left here to try to heal everybody's HP back up to full. And we get a 2 racks and the game's pretty much over here. So just understanding, like the hardest part about Oracle in some ways is understanding what all the abilities do, because really it's only then really where you can kind of understand how to use your second skill, when to use it, what does certain types of damage, why is so and so skill better. It's definitely a bit of a hero that takes a lot of knowledge to be effective at, but I think that's one of the fun things about him. Is that if you know when to pick him and if it is the right time to pick him, that it can give you this massive advantage, which is clearly what I got this game. And then becomes like very similar to Omni-Knight in a lot of ways, except more fun because you have a ranged attack and you have more dynamic skills, and you can also counter a lot of stuff. We did honestly a terrible job in directing the team here. Like even Mjolnir does no damage. Like it's all magic, right? So all I gotta do is cast Fate's Edict on myself and I'm pretty much unkillable. Yeah, this is actually really true. Like when he wrote this, when I was playing, I was like, I don't know if I completely agree with that guy. But like now watching the replay, I completely agree. Like we basically just kept team fighting them, and we would just crash them. I actually disagree that the lineup is shitty. I think our lineup was actually quite good. Like there was a couple places. Did we start that many fights? I don't even know. I didn't even need to use that. I just used it because I wanted to use it because I hadn't used it enough. It's a pretty fast game, but and the Arc Warden is definitely pretty right in a lot of ways. What's their short lane? The Ursa. He has Diffusal Blink. It's pretty bad actually for 35 minutes. That guy's pretty right to be angry. But with that said, I definitely agree. The way that we moved around the map that game was terrible. We actually didn't move around the map. We actually just, like you said, it's something that happens all the time at like 3K or lower. Players just go somewhere and then they kind of just walk into each other and they fight. There's nothing tactical about it. There's no like let's group and wrap around and gank somebody here where they were expecting them to be and then take a tower. We actually just sat around, and it happened to coin flip in our advantage because we had better heroes for team fighting, which was awful. Like we actually didn't play very well. But with that said, we team fought well, and yeah, I did a lot of damage that game, quite a bit. But mostly it was just buffs and stuff. It was a perfect Oracle game, pretty much, just because of the Fate's Edict. But I needed to do a lot more in terms of movement. So anyways, that's how you play Oracle. Fate's Edict to prevent the magic damage, double nuke on your ally to heal them, and then from there just nuke at the right times, cast your ultimate at the right times, and understand all of those intricacies of skills, and your hero's going to be useful. Lion's all magic, Darkseer's almost all magic, except for his ultimate illusions that do physical. Spirit Breaker's almost all magic, and Arc Warden is heavily magic, especially if you go the Mjolnir build, which is very common right now. So almost all magic damage from Arc Warden as well. If you went like Diffusal instead, maybe things would have been different. But he has to get Maelstrom at least first, so that he can push lanes. But I definitely countered his hero a lot. He just basically couldn't ever solo kill in some of those dangerous moments. So he did a lot of damage that game. But Yeah, there was almost nothing going on in this game. Could have been a lot better. Either way, that's Oracle. I hope you guys learned a lot. I am going to be casting the Chinese Boston Major finals tonight for the qualifier. Casting those in about a little bit of time. They might be happening right now, I guess. If you're on YouTube, this is probably irrelevant because let's be real, it's already happened most likely. Because by the time I upload this, it'll be about an hour, and then it's got to process, and then you got to watch to the end. Yeah, you're already missing games. It'll be on Moonduck TV if you guys want to check it out. Thanks for watching, though. See you guys later. Bye. Oh yeah, by the way, I have a lot of tournament stuff coming up. We're casting elimination mode in 2 days, which is gonna be really fun. Basically, in a best of 3 that happens, there's gonna be like 10 banned heroes at the start of it based on people or heroes that you guys vote for that are automatically banned. And then with every game that's played, if a hero is picked or banned, then they're banned for the rest of the game. So basically, by the time the 3rd game happens, there's a much smaller hero pool to pick from. So it should be a lot of interesting hero picks and stuff like that. So if you guys are a little bit bored with the common heroes that happen in the pro scene, then elimination mode will be great for you guys. And it'll be on the same place, twitch.tv/moonducktv for that. And then after that, I'm going to Montreal for Beat Invitational LAN. It's basically the Canada Cup, transitioning and doing a LAN, so that'll be exciting. And I think that's about it for what's coming up. So, all right, thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.